In the shadows of the old library halls, where the dust is thick and the silence calls, books tell stories of the things unseen, of foxes wild and spirits keen. Whispers in the stacks they creep, ghostly chills that steal your sleep, paranormal truths no one believes. They linger here like autumn's leaves. Bibles open to verses dark, stories written to leave their mark. The wildlife outside hears the moans, silent foxes, the forest groans. The last of these you cannot tame, a history buff who knows no shame. Paramount life outside hears the moans, silent foxes, the forest groans. The past a beast you cannot tame, a history buff who knows no shame. Paramount tales in every spine, haunting truths that cross the line. Whispers in the stacks they creep, ghostly chills that steal your sleep, paranormal truths no one believes. They linger here like autumn's leaves. Spirits waltz through moonlit air, books fall down as if to dare. Foxes howl in the wooded shade, they guard the truths that time forbade.
All right. Love that intro song. Thanks again, Sweet Tea. Love it. Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the library. Right, Lenny? Lenny is here. Victor is in his perch, overseeing everything that's going on here. And we have 20 people to start off the show. That is amazing. Thank you, every one of you, for stopping by and hanging out a bit. We're going to have some Idaho-based ghost stories tonight. And then I have a couple of paranormal things to show you. One of them actually is completely debunked already. I just want to show you how some of these things are bad. So I wanted to just show you how some of them I come across are very bad. But anyway, let's start off by saying hello to everybody. Hello, Teresa. Good to see you. Surviving together. Tommy Stiggs. The Fluffster and the Blusher. What else? What other names we have? We have a lot of names for him. Todd Father in the house. Delilah is here. Angelique, great to see you. Marta Fowler, good to see you. Emmanuel Spataro, the showstopper. Please don't stop this show. We're going to keep going. All right, who else am I missing here? It takes a while to go through the chat because I got to go through. Tammy is here. Great to see you. I saw Thindu, Patty, Delilah. I said hello to already. I'm going from the bottom to the top. M-Pow. How are you, M-Pow? And Sweet Tea herself. Oh, Sweet Tea was here. Osada Treats with a corny joke, corny ghost joke. Save those for Adam. Adam is the king of the corny jokes. So, Osada, you can't hold a candle to him. What else we got here? Okay, well, I think that's everyone so far. Vincent Capisci, good to see you. Let's start by lighting our candles. Last week was a regrettable postponement, but sometimes you got to do that. Candles lit. Theme Do is actually up. I don't know how long I'll keep him up. Maybe I won't be able to, but I appreciate him staying up for this. Come on, let's light this. Come on, there we go. All right. All right. Yes, uneven candles. Of course they're uneven. We don't have even candles here. We have uneven candles. It's more towards the mood. Okay? Now you have your explanation. You can move on. All right, let's start off with our stories. Now, someone made a comment today, I think in Theme Do Show, about there's only 10 people in Idaho, so how could there be ghost stories? But there's actually more than that. And there were quite a few ghost stories that I came across, and I picked out, as usual, the ones that I thought were most interesting. And we will go through them one by one. I actually have 6. Usually I have 5. I have 6 this time because they're a little bit short. So I figured I'll put in another one, dump in another one, and we'll see how it goes. Who is texting me? Someone is texting me here. Oh, okay. I don't know what that is. Anyway, all right. So let's start off with the Idaho Hotel, located in Silver City, Idaho, built in the year 1866, right after the Civil War. Opened in, I'm sorry, it was built in 1863, opened for business in 1866, right after the Civil War. Now, let me show you what this looks like. Now, this is located in Silver City, which is basically a ghost town itself. These are all old buildings, very little activity here. It's basically a ghost town. But I want you to take a look at what the Idaho Hotel looks like before I get into the lore around it. Hello, Arlene. Good to see you. All right, here we go. All right, here we go. Wait a minute, that didn't work. Why didn't that work? All right, hold on here. Why is this not working? Let me go back. Let me go back to this, and let's try that again. Let's try this again. That is not cool. What happened here? It's not coming through. All right. Hello, Noel. How are you, my friend? My South Florida friend, Southern Florida friend. But for some reason, this is not working. I can't share this picture, and I don't know why. This is really annoying me. Let me try it this way. Why is this coming on here? Hold on. There we go. Here we go. It took us long enough. But anyway, this is the Idaho Hotel in Silver City, Idaho. And as you can see, it's very old. There's a few cars there. It's basically a ghost town around it. So everything is dilapidated and old. Now, but this is operating, and even though it's a very quiet and desolate place, Silver City, it's still in operations, and you can stay in this hotel if you'd like. And it is said to be haunted by a couple of spirits. Now, first off, there's room 27. Now, in room 27, it is said that a past owner of this particular hotel committed suicide, and therefore his ghost lingers. And he's said to have been, you can see him wandering around the stairwell as well. In room 27, he'll come out of room 27, he'll wander around the stairwell, and you'll know that it's him because he'll be wearing a long duster coat. If you know what a duster coat is, the cowboys of the Old West, excuse me. Oh, man, indigestion from that dinner I had. A duster coat is what the old cowboys would wear out on the prairie or out on the dusty streets of an old western town. So this guy, if you see him, you're going to know he's not from this town, this time period. He's wearing an old dusty coat and a pretty large cowboy hat, and you'll see him wandering around. And they say they believe that he was the owner of this, one of the original owners of the hotel, and he just can't separate himself from it. So the old man, they call him, and he's wandering around the stairwell primarily, but he'll come out of room 27. Now, there's also spirits of young children playing in the street. This is interesting that you see ghostly apparitions in the street in front of the structure is not a usual thing in these hauntings. So these children, they'll be dressed in 1800s type of dressing, knickers, much like you would see, caps, etc., and they'll be playing with each other, sometimes playing with an ethereal ball back and forth, sometimes chasing each other, playing tag, acting like children as if they were alive. But you'll see them materialize in front of the hotel and then vanish before your eyes. There's also the spirits of two cowboys, classic cowboys. If you like westerns, you can imagine what they look like. In 1868, there was a documented shootout in front of this particular hotel. And it was between two people, one person by the name of John Marion Moore, and the other person, Samuel Lockhart. And it said that it was this dispute caused out of a fight over the ownership rights of a mine, a local mine. And it came to blows one day in 1868, and they decided to settle their troubles with a duel right in front of this hotel. Now, the J. Marion Moore got the worst of it, obviously, and took a shot to the chest. When he gets shot in the chest, he runs. He doesn't die instantly. He runs, but then eventually collapses. He runs about 50 yards from the spot where he shot and collapses right in front of the Oriental Restaurant, which was right next door to this. It's no longer there, but there was a structure called the Oriental Restaurant, and he dies right there. Now, the interesting thing about this story is how it translates into the spirit world today. These two, even though only one of them died here, these two will reincarnate or materialize and have their showdown over and over again. And if you're lucky enough, you'll be able to witness it, where they will both draw. Marion will take the bullet, turn around and run and fall down and die. And when he hits the ground, both spirits evaporate. So kind of like watching an Old West show. Like if you ever gone to one of these Old West places like Wild West City in New Jersey or Carson City in upstate New York, and there's one in Arizona. I'm sure there's many more. These Western theme parks where they have duels for you to watch them, shootouts. It's just like watching that, but only spiritual people doing it. So it would be quite an experience to have to go through, I would think. So I would really be interested to be there when one of these showdowns rehash. That would be pretty cool. So that's the Idaho Hotel. It has basically three sets of ghosts. One is the old owner in the duster coat. There's the children that are playing in the front yard or in the front of the building with a ball, often, sometimes playing chase. And then finally, you have the ghosts of J. Marion Moore and Samuel Lockhart, who had their duel in 1868. So interesting Western lore here that takes foot in the Idaho Hotel in Silver City, Idaho. All right, there's your first story. Let's get rid of that. Let me see. Did anyone else come in? Zelda, how are you? I want to say hello if anyone else came in that I missed. I said hello to Arlene. Okay, cool. I think I got everybody. Emmanuel, Marta, Noel, Angelique, got you all, you guys. Thank you all, as usual, for coming here. Always have my thanks on this first day of the Memorial Day weekend, I guess. It's the first started. The Memorial Day weekend started. All right, the second story is really interesting to me because it starts off in Native American Indian folklore, but it translates to the white man's experiences as well, which you don't see too often. Often, Native American lore will stay with the tribes and, we'll hear stories about it. But white men will not experience or have not experienced it themselves, haven't experienced the phenomenon that the Native Americans bring about. Well, this one, both have experienced. So that's intriguing to me because you very rarely come across that. And this is about the ghost stallion of Owyhee County. Now, like I said, this started out as a Native American legend. And the legend goes that there's this white stallion, a glowing white stallion, who will appear on the horizon with its own herd. It's basically the leader of the herd of other wild horses. And it will appear whenever someone's in trouble and will somehow save them, bring them good fortune. Sometimes will lead them out of trouble. Sometimes will bring help to them. So it's a positive spirit animal that appears. Now, this was in the local Indian lore. The funny thing about this is that cowboys in the region, as the Americans moved west and began to drive cattle across this region, and I'll show you a picture of the area which we're talking about, which will kind of help you understand why a legend like this might exist. Because as you can see, these canyons right here, this is basically all of Owyhee County. It's all of these desolate canyons with some valleys which are flush with vegetation or a little bit of trees and greenery, but most of it are these arid canyons. And it's basically a wilderness when you think about it, because it's so large. It's thousands of miles. And when this happens, often throughout the years, cowboys would drive their cattle through these canyons. And these long cattle drives would take them across seasons, which all kinds of weather, all kinds of trauma and bad conditions, just trying to survive, getting their cattle to market. The American experience carving out the West. But there have been times when these cowboys would get into trouble, when they would get stuck in a pop-up ice storm in winter, or a blizzard, or they would run out of water and they would a dust storm would come up. And there's several stories over the years on how each time one of these cowboys in these cattle drives got into trouble or either got lost. Another thing, sometimes they would get lost and be wandering and wandering. And when this would happen, when they were at their last stages of life, basically giving up, they would see the white stallion and his herd appear. And they would follow the white stallion. The white stallion would lead them out of the wilderness, basically lead them out of whether they were lost, lead them through the storms, lead them through anything that was hindering their progress and bring them to safety, or at least bring them to some type of civilization, contact with some type of civilization. And it is said that this white coat of this stallion gleams and it glows like you would see it in the dark, glowing like the moonlight. And that every time he would appear, he would take them to safety or take them to where they would want to go, put them on the right track, and then he would vanish and disappear. But his hoof prints would remain. So there is contact with the physical by this spiritual horse, that the footprints would remain. The hoof prints of the horse would be there after he disappeared and dematerialized, or whatever you want to call it. So it's a fascinating story from that angle, is that there's material evidence to back up the experience. And some might say, it was delusional because of the stress that the individual was under. But here's the physical aspect of it. The hoof prints left after the encounter. So a good spirit, always looking to help, always looking to lead people to something, to safety or to something they need. So the ghost stallion of Owyhee County is our second story. All right. Cool. All right, let's go on to our next one. All right. Number 3, the murder house of Boise State. Now, the murder house of Boise State is just what you're saying. It's a house where murder occurred. And it's located at 805 Linden Street in Boise, Idaho. Now, I'm going to show you a picture of it. This is a private residence now. I don't think it's ever been public. It's always been private residence of some type. And this is what it looks like. This is the murder house of Boise State. So why is it called the murder house of Boise State? Well, murder happened in this house, and it happened in 1987, June 30th, actually, of 1987. And at that time, 2 individuals by the name of Daniel Rogers, who was 37 years old, and Darren Cox, who was 31, killed a third man by the name of Preston Murr in the basement of this house. And this house was owned by Rogers. It was owned by Daniel Rogers. And it was quite a grisly murder, because after he was shot, they took out an axe and dismembered him. And the corpse was wrapped into different pieces. The pieces of the corpse were wrapped into plastics to dispose of it, and was driven to the Idaho-Oregon border and dumped in the Brownlee Reservoir. So there's this body of water, reservoir between Idaho and Oregon, where they dumped the body of this poor guy, Preston Murr. Now, why did this happen? No, to this day, nobody knows why it happened. There was no information forthcoming as to what caused this murder to occur. But things that have happened in this house since, it is said that blood will drip from the walls of the basement. So if you're in the basement of this house where the dismemberment took place and the murder, blood will drip from the walls out of nowhere. If you hear a noise outside, this happened in 1995. Someone was, at the time the house was being rented, and someone heard a noise outside who was renting the house. They went outside to investigate it. And what they see, they turn around, they see nothing. They find nothing outside. They hear an odd noise. They proceed outside to investigate. Nothing. They find nothing. They turn around and they look, and they see a big black shape in the window, that front window right there. Then, when they go back inside, to investigate to see who's up in this window. They find nothing again. But when they come back downstairs, in the mirror in the living room, they see the same shape in the living room, in the mirror, appearing in the mirror. And once they look at this shape, the shape physically comes out of the mirror and walks through them. And they actually feel the iciness of the encounter as the spirit moves through their body and passes through them. It is said that the blinds open and close by themselves often in this house. And you don't even have to own this house or be in this house to see that, because if you're walking by, each one of these windows in the front has blinds on them, and you will see them indiscriminately going up and down. Some people claim they have seen a woman in the window upstairs screaming and banging on the window as if for help. In fact, the police have been called several times by individuals, bystanders, who have seen this and tried to get that woman help. And when the police arrive, they go into the house and there's nothing there. Just the owner is there, or the renter is there, whomever. There's no woman upstairs. So it's quite a creepy residence with its negative energy from the murder and these spiritual activities of the dark thing walking through people. This woman upstairs in the window, creepy. By the way, those two that did the murder went to prison and still are in prison, I believe, to this day. But they still would not give forth what happened, like what drove them to do this murder. So that's creepy in and of itself, how something like that would be kept a secret for so long. So the murder house of Boise State obviously is a good legend for the college, and college kids tend to go and bother the people in this house from time to time because of the legends, the stories that go along with it. But it is what it is. It's the murder house of Boise State, and also named the Chop House because of what occurred in the basement with the body being chopped up. So there you have it. That's your third ghostly encounter for Idaho, the murder house of Boise State. All right. Now, number 4. Number 4, it wouldn't be a good ghost story without a cemetery, right? We usually have a cemetery story. Well, we have one in Idaho too. This is Rose Hill Cemetery. Now, there are several things that go on in Rose Hill Cemetery, but let me show you what it looks like first. Here's the entrance to Rose Hill Cemetery. Kind of creepy, ominous looking, desolate looking. Big arch that you go into the cemetery under. It's been around since the 1880s. It started in the 1883, I believe, is when it started. The oldest grave is 1883. And some of these graves are still unmarked there because they're so old. Some of the original grave sites are unmarked. And were not consecrated by any type of religious person, which lends to the ghostly activity. Usually, we find that if a cemetery is been consecrated and is in holy ground, you won't see ghostly activity there. It's in these situations like this where you have a conglomerate of different things based on the different time periods over the years, where it was basically a cemetery by default. People just started burying people there. It wasn't like a formal cemetery with a religious person or a religious organization endorsing it. So that's the situation with Rose Hill Cemetery, and it's in Idaho Falls, Idaho. So what goes on in this cemetery? All right. Well, the first thing that we're going to talk about is the Knocking Tomb, a place called the Knocking Tomb. Now, the Knocking Tomb is a specific mausoleum in the cemetery, which it is said that if you go up to it and knock on the back of it, it will knock back at you in the front. So in other words, if someone knocks on the back of it, the noise will come out the front side. It's called the Rogers Tomb. There's concrete panels. It's also said that after the knocking, sometimes the concrete panels will move in the front. Now, I grabbed the picture of this. I want to show it to you real quick. Let's see. Patty says she would keel over. I would too if that was happening. I don't think I'd be too happy with that. All right, where are we? Here we go. This is what the Rogers tomb looks like, and this is the front panel. I think this is the front panel. And if you knock on the back side of the tomb, this side you'll hear knocking here, and sometimes this concrete will move. So quite an interesting type of encounter if you're there when it happens. So that's number one, the knocking tomb. All right. Let's get rid of that. All right. And now the next story that happens in Rose Hill Cemetery is it's said that around the turn of the century, the 20th century, so the early 1900s, there were two graves buried or placed side to side. Now, the lore around these two graves is that before we even get to the graves, there was a legend or an incident in Idaho Falls where a wolf-like creature was terrorizing the town. It started off by taking chickens and livestock, and then eventually people began to get attacked by this wolf-like creature. And it got so bad that the town decided to get together and form a posse or a search party or something to destroy this thing. And they went out into the night, and it said they actually caught it. And what they did was, what they found, they were horrified at what they found, because what it was, or at least they claim it was a werewolf. It wasn't a normal wolf. It wasn't any type of normal coyote or anything like that. It was a man-like wolf. And because they killed it, and when they captured it, they killed it because they were so afraid they couldn't maintain it. They ended up chopping it into two pieces because they were afraid that if they didn't do this, if they buried it, because they believed it was supernatural, it would come back together and terrorize them again. So what they did was they chopped this beast into two pieces, buried one in one grave and buried one in the next grave. The first grave was a tombstone that said on it, the name was Ware, W-E-A-R, and the other grave said Wolf, W-O-L-F-F. So it was as if they were trying to communicate the message that it was a werewolf, but also trying to make it appear as if it was two separate individuals that were buried there under these names. Someone happened to have the last name of Ware, some happened to have the name of Wolf, and was buried in these two tombstones. Now, this the word got around about this, and a lot of activity started to happen in this gravesite, with people trying to either dig it up or like crazy stuff happening. So what they did was the owners of the cemetery took these two graves and separated them. Moved them to different spots. So to this day, nobody knows what happened to those graves, because when they moved them, they changed the tombstones. The tombstones have other things on them. So this original resting place of this werewolf, which they were so afraid of reincarnating or coming back together, is in two different locations in the cemetery at this particular time. Now, whether it was an actual werewolf or not, who knows, or some type of cryptoid creature, I don't know. But it was bad enough that they went through this trouble to try to prevent it from coming back together. So at least they believed it was going to happen. They believed it was supernatural enough that it would reincarnate and come back. So that's in two different separation sections of the cemetery. No ghostly activity or any type of activity has happened since they moved them. So possibly the right idea. No weird activity has happened with them. But people still, from time to time, try to search to figure out where these graves went. So far, no one has figured it out, but it's something that the locals will try to do, I guess. Local kids and thrill seekers might try to do. Right, so that's the second ghost or second weird story, at least a werewolf story. The third one is a ghost by the name, they call him K.A. Now, I couldn't figure out why they call him K.A., but it's capital K, capital A. I'm assuming it's the initials of his name, Kevin something or other. I don't know. But he is quite an aggressive ghost and a mean and evil doing ghost. And he's said to locate to hang out at the bottom of the hill. Now in Rose Hill Cemetery, there's a hilly part and it goes down into like a little gully there. It is said that his spirit hangs out there at night and he does not like people coming into that area. And several ghost hunters have gone there to try to document or capture him or do something like that. And each time they have come out with bad experiences. In fact, they will either get choked by him, physically choked by him, or burnt or poked to the point that they feel they can't stay there and they have to get out. So the K.A., whoever he might be, is not a good spirit. He is a mean one. Now, maybe he's not even a spirit. Maybe he's a demon or something. I don't know. But he's very angry, doesn't like people coming to that area of the cemetery. And if you go there at night, you're taking your life into your own hands because these people were physically harmed by him. So be warned, if you're in Rose Hill Cemetery, stay away from the area lower of the hill there because you might encounter him. And that would not be good. There's also the fourth ghost story here is the mausoleum of a young girl. Now, if I couldn't find where it is, but there is a mausoleum there of a young girl, another mausoleum, and it is said that if you stand there at midnight and you simply say, "Hi, hello, hi," you will hear her soft voice say hello back to you. So she's reaching out, looking for encounters with the living. She died young, and she is still attached to the living, and will want to reach out and connect with you. She'll say hello right back at you. So be prepared for that if you ever encounter that. Um, there's also on the outskirts of this cemetery, there is said to be a male, like an adult male apparition, and a little girl that appear. And they won't come into the cemetery, but what they will do is they will linger on the outskirts. They will linger on the outskirts and come closer. And if people are there, the little girl will come close as she can possibly get without entering the grounds of the cemetery. And in fact, she will climb and sit on a birch tree. There's a birch tree in one location where she is said to be seen sitting there while I presume it's her father, I don't know, but there's an adult ghost and a child ghost. And the adult ghost will just stand there and the child will be up in the tree trying to get as close to the cemetery as possible. I don't know what the backstory is. I couldn't find the backstory as to why these ghosts are doing this, but it's strange that they would not be able to enter the cemetery yet linger about and long to enter it. I don't know. Maybe it's a father and a son, a father and a daughter who lost the mother and the wife, and they're trying to visit. I don't know. It's just very strange. No, so that was the final story for Rose Hill Cemetery. So you have the knocking tomb, you have the werewolf grave, you have K.A., the mean spirit. You have the mausoleum of the young girl that answers you back with hello, and then finally you have the girl, the adult male, and the little girl who linger around the outskirts of the cemetery. Cool stuff, I think. Hello, Bobo. Let me say hello to you. Who else is here? Deborah Roberts. Good to see you. Maureen. Good to see you. Stony Tony, my man. Good to see you. Gina. How are you, Gina? Good to see you. New crowd shuffling in. The new crowd shuffles in. All right. Kelly is here. Hello, Kelly. Good to see you. All right. Thanks, guys. All right. So that was number 4, the Rose Hill Cemetery Ghosts. Now let's go on to number 5, if I may. Number 5. Now, number 5 is the Lewiston Civic Theater, located in Lewiston, Idaho. Built in 1907, it was originally a Methodist church. Now, get a load of this. This is such a cool looking structure. If you appreciate architecture like I do, you'll appreciate this. This is an old church, and you'll know why. You'll see it immediately that it's an old church. There it is, right there. That's the Lewiston Civic Theater, which is kind of cool. The structure, it was an old church, beautiful architecture, all stone, kind of like with a tower, like a castle. It's a beautiful, beautiful building turned into a theater, and has been a theater since 1972. And they do quite a bit here of plays and musicals and you name it. Singing, a lot of opera singers, everything imaginable for it's basically the cultural hub of Lewiston, Idaho. Now, what's the deal with this though? And I don't think that it being a church has much to do with it at all. Having formerly been a church has much to do with it at all. But some bad things happen here. In fact, in 1980, September 14th, 1982, two young girls by the name of Christina Nelson and Jacqueline Miller, one was 21, the other was 18, were going out one night, walking past this particular structure. And as they were going out, they wanted to stop and talk to the janitor there, who was a friend of theirs. The janitor, oh boy, I don't have his name, the janitor. Stephen Pencil. The janitor was a friend of theirs, Stephen Pencil. Now, what happened that night, nobody knows to this day. And in fact, it is still a cold case in the police department because that night, all 3 of those people vanished, disappeared completely. And it wasn't until a week later that the bodies of the 2 girls were found. And it wasn't found in the church or in the theater. It was found a mile. No, it wasn't a mile away, like a half a mile away. Both were murdered, strangled, murdered. And here's the creepiest part is that the janitor's body has still never been found. It completely gone. Stephen Pencil's body was never recovered at all. So all this happened September 14th, 1982. Now, I have a picture of some of these folks, so you get a good idea of what I'm talking about here. Here, I believe obviously the janitor's right here in the middle, the guy with the mustache, that's the janitor. And there's more than 2 girls here, but I think the 2 girls were these 2 people on each side, Kristen and Jacqueline. And now these other 2 girls also were murdered in Lewiston, and the police somehow think they're linked, but it was never connected. But it had nothing to do with this structure of this church, these other 2 girls. But there was a serial killer or some evil that had taken the lives of all these people, and it's still an open case to this day. Now, what does that mean for this location, the Civic Theater location? Well, because of this, it is believed that there are hauntings that go on in the Civic Center because a few things happen there. In addition to those girls, the spirits of those girls will often be seen. The janitor, no one has ever seen the janitor spirit, but the spirit of those girls will often be seen walking about the halls there in 1980s garb, late 1970s, early 1980s garb. Um, the In addition to that, it is said that there's a spirit of one of the directors, one of the first directors of plays in this civic center, who used to do it throughout the 70s. Like I said, it became a theater in 1972, and it remained that way to this day. But throughout the 70s, there was particularly one or two directors that did all of the work in this theater. And it's said that his ghost will appear and sit in the front row and watch performances, the front row of the balcony, and sit there and watch performances over and over again. That's one ghost. So the first of the two girls, there's the spirit of this director, this former director there. There's also said to be um, a red-haired woman ghost in the mailroom of this place, which is interesting because nobody quite knows why or what her connection is with the building. But there's a spirit of a red-haired girl that often will materialize in the mailroom. There's also an elderly gentleman that watches the door, will actually appear and stand by the door as if he's a doorman, opening and welcoming people. In addition, there is a bride, the spirit of a bride who weaves through the seats. And it is said that this is the one spirit that they think goes back to when it was the church. And what they believe happened was that this particular woman was left at the altar and had such a time of dealing with it that she couldn't deal with the fact that she's still there searching for her groom, regardless of when she eventually died. That she came back to this church because this was the longing, the missing part of her life, that she was left at the altar by her groom, and is searching in vain, wandering around the theater, which was once the Methodist church in which she was to be married. So her spirit wanders about. And then there's also a famous singer by the name of Anne Bollinger who uh, sang here, or came here, I guess, to sing. I don't know. But you'll see her spirit will appear on stage at times. And it's said that she's, if you know who the woman is, I didn't know the name. I didn't know Anne Bollinger, but her spirit is recognizable. So if you know her, you would recognize the spirit that it's her. You would know instantly that's her, and she'll appear on stage at a random time and then vanish. So a lot of activity happening in this civic center. You have the two girls that unfortunately lost their lives somewhere, either in the building or outside the building or what have you. There's the director, the spirit of the director. There's the red-haired girl in the mailroom. There's the elderly gentleman doorman that watches the door. There's the bride that's looking for her lost groom, and the spirit of Anne Bollinger that hangs out here. So you have quite a group of spirits hanging out and occupying this same space. And like I said, a beautiful architecture. I think it's a great building. So maybe that's part of it too. Maybe they like hanging out in such a cool building. Who knows? Don McHugh, how are you, my friend? Good to see you. All right. And then so that was number 5. The last story is a short one, but we'll just throw it in for fun. Now, the last story is about a brothel in Lewiston, also in Lewiston, the same town as the theater. And this was a place that was once called Volmer and Scott's. It was in the Volmer and Scott building. Now, it was a bar downstairs, and upstairs was a brothel. We've heard this story many times before because this is how it used to be in the late 1800s, early 1900s. Now, here's a picture of what I'm talking about right here. This was in the 20s, this picture, because the building was later called Morgan's Alley. It originally was the Volmer and Scott building, and then it was changed to be Morgan's Alley, which basically was the name of the bar, and the owner of the bar owned the building. So here we go. This is what it looks like, or it looked like in the 1920s, at least. It's this structure right here. An old-looking building built in the 1800s. And once again, it was a bar downstairs and a brothel upstairs. Now, it is said that this place is haunted, interestingly enough, not by any prostitutes or madams or anything that work there. It's haunted by a ghost by the name of the Blue Lady. Now, the Blue Lady is called the Blue Lady because she is dressed completely in a striking blue dress with a blue hat, on her head. And it is said that, and the theory behind this, or the story behind the Blue Lady, is that this woman was a very religious woman who lived across the street or in the alley, the building next over the alley from the saloon and the brothel. And she was very unhappy with that. And throughout her time there, she made a big stink about it and tried her best to shut it down. She was not very happy with it at all. And it is said that you can see her gliding up and down the stairs in this building. She has blonde hair, blonde, neatly curled hair in a strikingly blue dress, and you will see her image floating up and down the stairs over and over again. And it said that she's still so upset about the brothel being there that she is refusing to leave, that she's still trying to drive them out, drive them away, even though they're not there anymore. It's not a brothel anymore, obviously, but still, doing her best, banging her drum or whatever they used to do, against that type of stuff back then. So the Blue Lady of Morgan's Alley is the last story of Idaho. So we had 6 cool stories, if you ask me. We had, quick recap, we had the Ghost Stallion of Ohe County. We had the Idaho Hotel of Silver City. We had the Murder House of Boise State. The Rose Hill Cemetery, which had a host of ghosts in it. The Lewiston Civic Theater, which has a whole host of ghosts. And then Morgan's Alley and the Blue Lady. So there you have it. Those are your ghost stories from Idaho on this Friday before Memorial Day. So I hope you liked them and hope you enjoyed them. I thought they were cool, interesting. All right. Let us go now to, I have a couple of things to show you. A couple of, what do you call it? Paranormal type things, right? And like I always tell you guys, it's always difficult for me to find stuff because so much of it out there on the internet is obviously fake. And I wouldn't waste your time with it. So, and let me start off with that. All right. Let me start off with one that I want to show you here. Hold on. If I can get this working. Hold on. Here we go. There's one. There's 2. And where's 3? 3. Okay. All right. Well, let's start off with just an orb, right? We haven't seen orbs. We haven't seen really orbs in a while. So let's start off with an orb. All right. Here we go. Window. Okay, here we go. Now, this is just a surveillance camera in a person's room or a person's living room. Now, I often say, why is there a surveillance camera in someone's interior living room? I don't know. Hold on a second. Todd Father, hold on. Hello.
Hey.
You there? Hi.
Yeah, I'm here. I just got to mute for 1 second.
Go ahead. So this is, like I said, this is a surveillance camera in someone's living room. Now, it captures an orb. So I'm going to play this if I can. Watch over here in the corner. There it is. Watch it. And it goes across here over to here. I'll replay that again.
All right, I'm sorry. I'm trying to pause you on my normal TV, and it's.
Oh, no problem.
Did it work?
Yeah.
All right. No, we're good, Malia.
All right, now watch this. This is the like this is. I don't think this is fake, Don. I think this is simply a reflection. This is not a fake. Now watch it again. This is because it's two-dimensional. Look at it. It's a two-dimensional reflection. It's not a whole orb. It's not like a three-dimensional orb.
Yeah, I don't know about all that one.
You can see it. It's flat, right? You see it's flat. It's a reflection of something. And this is what people put on the internet as being paranormal. Like this is an example of what I find. So it's very difficult to see, to find something that's credible to even watch because people put this stuff up and say, "Oh yeah, it's paranormal." Hold on a second here. Hold on.
Say hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. How are you?
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Osada.
What's up, guys?
How are we doing?
Good.
So did you see this orb thing?
I did not. I was getting logged in.
Here, I'll play it for you again. This is I'm showing this as an example of something that is definitely not paranormal, but is claimed to be paranormal. And it's simply a reflection is what it is. It's something is moving and reflecting because it's not three-dimensional. It's a flat surface type of, it's a two-dimensional thing. You see how flat it is?
Yeah.
It's coming from like the outside or something.
It could be a car driving by,
Yeah.
It could be anything like that. It's not, but people put this on the internet and say it's paranormal.
Well, have you ever heard of ball lightning?
Say that again.
Ball lightning. It's a phenomenon, and a lot of people think it's paranormal. You can Google it, and a lot of people see these orbs. And some of them they'll come out of the walls. A lot of them describe them as coming out of the walls, and they'll float right in front of you in the room.
Huh.
And it's called ball lightning. One of my friends claimed to have seen it at one time. Actually, him and his girlfriend.
Interesting.
They're similar to that. Yeah.
Huh. All right. All right. Now let me play the next one here. All right. All righty. Here we go. Let's see. All right. This one. Let's see which one this is. I think this is the one I'm talking about. Hold on. All right, now this is a banquet hall, Todd Father. So you're the expert here on this one.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, this place was said to be haunted. So a ghost hunting team goes in. Flag number 1, a ghost hunting team, which means they need to find something. They need to find something to validate what they're doing. So that always makes it suspect. Now, they claim that they're filming this. And you're going to see what they say is a ghost standing in the corner. Now watch.
Oh, come on.
Right. Now, that's obviously a person standing there. Right? It's obviously a person. Now, and here's the kicker. Now, here's why they say it's a ghost, though, because as the clip plays, hold on, as it continues to play, you'll see the camera move side, and then she's gone. Watch. Okay, now, and it'll go back real quick. Oh, she's gone. What happened to her? Oh my God, she's gone.
That was the banquet manager praying in the corner, and then all of a sudden she realized she was being filmed, and she got out. She got out.
Right. So
Wow, that's the worst one yet.
if that's not bad enough, I mean, you can easily debunk it because look at this right here. The ghost has a shadow in the mirror here. Look, you see her shadow right here?
Yeah. Oh,
What
yeah.
ghost has a shadow? No ghost has a shadow. So obviously fake. And then like you'll see once she moves, the shadow's gone in the mirror. Watch. Now watch, it goes back. Hold on, what's going on here? Why is it doing that? Oh wait, a ghost is taking over this thing. It's not doing it right. Right there. See now the shadow's gone from the mirror too. She's gone, and so is the shadow in the mirror. So
Wow.
So another bad one that they put up
That's
here,
That's
they
pretty
put on the
bad.
internet and claim to be paranormal, and it's not. All right.
I think Stevie Wonder could figure that one out. Anthony, I have a question from me in the audience.
Okay.
Are you growing a goatee over there, or?
Yeah, if you can, if it is one.
Okay. We just didn't know if it was like the bad camera angle or.
No, it's not. Like this is what I can grow. I guess I can never grow a full one, but
just asking.
And the story behind this is that I shave with a electric razor.
Sharp rock.
The head broke. The head of the broke, and I'm waiting for the new one to come in for the electric razor. And I do not like shaving with a straight razor around my mouth at all. So I just let it grow.
Already done.
But that's the wonderful story behind that. Now, here's my last one. My last one is a still picture, but this one is not. I'm not saying this is fake. Let's see what people think. This one is kind of interesting to me. So here's the last one. And the story behind this one is that this is a mansion that gives tours, like historical tours and such, whatever, built in the 1800s. And this is a picture that was taken in it. This is a video, but it's a video of the picture. So this is a picture that was taken in the hall. Now, look down here at the end of the hall. You see this? You can see
the white
shape.
thing.
Yes, and it's going to zoom in so you can get a better look.
See it?
It's got some. I feel some energy coming from it. So.
You feel it?
There you go.
Yeah.
Now
What's it feel like, Losada?
Are any of your kids listening right now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I can't. Okay, I can't tell you. I'll tell you another time.
So this is clearly the shape of a person. Look at this. There's clearly a woman's shape here. I think this is pretty cool. This one.
It does. It looks like almost like a royalty figure or something. They're either wearing something like a turban or some type of crown or something.
Or that could be the hairstyle of the late 1800s, where the women would put their hair up like kind of like that. I think that's what the theory is that this is the wife. The theory is that this is the spirit of the wife of the owner of this mansion that was caught by random on someone's camera when they were taking pictures in the mansion.
Oh. Interesting.
And it doesn't get much closer, so that's the best you could do. And this was the guy that built the mansion, and it's his wife that they say is that ghost. And this is in California, I think. I think this is in California, someplace. So anyway, that's I think that one is at least worth looking at. It's not as bad as it's not really bad. It could be something. It couldn't be something. It's up to you. Whereas the other two are just obviously bad.
Yeah, real bad.
Well, the one that you said had the shadow in the mirror.
Yeah.
Do you remember the movie 3 Men and a Baby?
Yes.
So there's a scene in there where they kind of scan by the windows and there's a little boy. I remember watching this on VHS way back in the day, rewinding it. And there's a little boy that's in the curtain. And then I think it's been a long time since I heard anything about it, but I think that something like the little boy died in the hotel or something like that. And so they're like the ghost actually appeared in the movie.
It's clear as
You know anything about that? Have you ever heard about that?
I've
My
heard that.
wife is over
Yes.
here saying it's clear as day, and she
Yeah,
remembers.
I remember that. Now, when that first happened, though, I thought that was just hype. You know, like the they did that on purpose to
Well, maybe they
cause
did.
hype.
They may have. All I
Yeah.
know is I remember rewinding the VHS tape and actually seeing it for myself.
Right. Right.
So I don't know.
Yeah. So
it's something to look into.
yeah, I mean, I'll look into that and see if I could find it online and see if we could pull it up in a future show. Like, there's also the story about the Wizard of Oz, that there was one of the
swinging in the
dwarves or
background,
midgets, that hung themselves in the back. In the back, did you ever hear
You could
that
see it.
story?
No, never
Yeah.
heard that.
You could see it.
Yeah,
Really?
it's like a shadow, right? It's a shadow of someone hanging.
Yeah, it looks like a silhouette
Yeah.
swinging back and forth from side to side. Like it
Weird.
like shows the rope and everything. Like
Mhm.
well, I mean, not it just looks all black when in
Yeah.
the background of one of the little people committed suicide.
Dwarfs or whatever they were. I don't know what they were called then. Dwarfs. Some of them were dwarfs. Some of them were midgets. Some of them were, I don't know, little people. I don't know what the correct term was for those folks, but they were, there was, hundreds of them hired for that movie, and supposedly one of them took his own life. I don't know.
And they filmed
You can
and
see
they had
it.
it in the movie,
Yeah,
and they didn't realize it. They didn't
They didn't
know
realize
at
it.
the time.
The story is they didn't realize it, that it was you could see it in the background. And
That's crazy. I would think that they murdered the guy, and they put it in the film to let all the other guys know to stay in line. Like, you guys want to keep fucking acting up,
is that what they
hang
did?
in. You just keep filming. We'll put it in the movie that way.
Well, yeah. I mean, it could have been the government too.
yeah. Follow the yellow brick road or else.
I had a really interesting story out at my stand today with a Native American lady about Bigfoot, and she's from
Really?
Alaska. Yeah, I never heard this before, but she's all into it. She says that they migrate from different times of the year from Alaska down to the Pacific Northwest, and she knows like where their birthing grounds are, and I mean, she knows all this crazy stuff about it. I was like,
Were they
wow.
selling mushrooms at that farmer's market today, or?
No, this wasn't a farmer's market.
I mean,
So,
I mean, you can, it sounds crazy, but you can never discount some of that stuff. I mean, we got a lot of woods up here.
well, yeah. Listen, with Bigfoot, I always thought when I was a kid, I loved the Bigfoot. Like, I thought the idea of it was awesome, that there was a Bigfoot out there somewhere. So I've always kept an open mind to that stuff. Always keep an open mind to it. But if you watch some of those shows are ridiculous, ridiculous, over the top ridiculous, with the stuff they come up with.
But it makes me wonder sometimes, like, do they make it over the top ridiculous just so we will shy away from the truth?
Right? Yeah, that could be. Yeah, it could be.
I don't know. I mean, like, where does the story originate from? Like, how did it even become a thing in the beginning? This is what she said. She said that humans used to have potlatches with the Yetis, and that there's a Native American story where there was a fight where one of them killed a human, and that's where the separation happened. But they used to, like, have gatherings together.
Really?
Humans yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, I forgot she said that. So I thought that was, I mean, whether it's true or not, just hearing that kind of stuff, especially from somebody like that, is really interesting to me.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that the Native American, it's obviously a word of mouth culture. Like, their history is word of mouth. They didn't write anything down, but their stories of the Bigfoot were well before, they existed well before the white man was here. So I don't know. What does that mean? It could be that there's some shred of truth to it, so I don't know.
Yeah, so I just thought it was interesting,
Yeah, and the fact that this woman knows so much about it, right? It's probably significant in their culture.
Yeah, and
right?
she's legit Native American too. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
interesting. Huh.
Sweet Tea, the answer to your question is no. She has not seen that show.
Which show?
The
Well, I'm sorry. I'm not seeing the chat here. Where's Sweet Tea?
Todd sounds like he could use a fucking V8 or something. Low energy. Sounds like Jeb Bush.
Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. Oh boy. Oh, Sweet Tea's still on that joke from 2 weeks ago where we said that where Todd came in and said something. I was talking to my brides and we said that he was Mormon. You remember that, Osada? That's what
I think so. Yeah.
That's what she's referring to. That's what she's referring to.
Huh, she gives me crap about the Chat GPT jokes, but it looks like she's on them now.
I didn't hear you for a second. Sorry, I don't know what happened. And somebody also asked, when is the next Lenny show?
Oh, I don't know. You got to ask Lenny, right?
Yeah, that's
when are you going to go live again?
And please check your text messages. Osada sent you a nice little picture of a would-be co-host for you.
Oh, okay. Let me see what I got here.
I don't know if you want to show that.
That's great. That is great.
I wonder if you could hold that up to the camera. Just don't burn your sleeves.
I don't know if you could see this, guys, but here we go. Oh,
no, it's
too small, right? It's too small.
Just don't burn your sleeves, please.
I'm not going to burn. Hold on.
It's Tommy Stiggs' head on Lenny, if anybody's wondering.
Yeah, you can see it.
There you go. It's perfect, too, the way that head is.
I like it. Yeah, it's a good
one. Great. So what are you guys doing for this weekend? Anything? Any plans this weekend? I know, Osada, you're working.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a meat raffle to be at tomorrow night, and
God, that sounds so weird.
I guess we're going
a meat raffle.
Yeah, yes. Especially coming out of his mouth. That is just so creepy.
What?
A meat raffle.
It's just like a Chinese auction for meat, or and just go hang out and drink beer and have fun. Like, there's really nothing to it. I don't understand your confusion.
Gina thinks it's funny.
It just sounds funny though when you say that.
Meat
raffle sounds funny.
It does, right?
Yeah.
Well, a lot of them raise money for different benefits and organizations and people. You know what I mean? So
I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do. Tricky trays make tons of money, and I never got it. I never understood it why, but there's like a whole group of people that go to those things that seek them out.
Yeah, it's like following for sure.
Yeah.
Right. Nobody asked you, Don. Don says got my car event tonight.
Yeah, no one did ask.
No one cares.
Where'd that come from?
Just go smoke your cigar and drink your coffee and keep to yourself.
Next to the kangaroos.
Stoney's being a good guy. He's saying, McHugh, have fun. He's encouraging him. So.
And then Sunday, it's, I guess, a cookout if the weather permits. The weather's been horrible here, so.
That's nice. That's fun.
We have 75 degrees tomorrow. It's like 72 today. Not bad.
Yeah, it's terrible here. Like 40, 43 degrees and rain and wind.
Yep, you can hear it in your voice. Your voice sounds like the weather.
The next couple of days are going to be better here. I don't know about you, Todd, but here they're going to be better.
Osada, what's wrong with my voice?
You just sound like you're two coughs away from the grave right now. I don't know what's wrong with you.
No, I'm just trying to behave myself for Anthony's show.
Thank you, Todd, for not.
I'm trying not to get excited, even though you're trying to poke me here. But
thank you for not cussing out Osada.
If you want to take this somewhere else after this show, we can possibly do that.
Fair enough.
I could show you. I could show you what my voice would do after that if you need to. My wife's telling me to behave over here. Trying to be calm. Trying to.
Sweet Tea's going to a water lantern festival.
Oh, that sounds cool.
Oh, that sounds exciting.
Well, isn't that like Japanese, origins?
Oh, right? I don't know. I
think so. Yeah, I think that's where. Well, I mean, like in the Karate Kid Part 2, like when Sato died.
Right.
They had the
in Okinawa. They had that lantern festival thing. Yeah. Yep.
Not Sato, but the dad. I mean,
Sato's making quite the abundant amount of movie references tonight.
Yeah.
Really?
Well,
I'm
your
just practicing for the
Osana,
good
your
poet.
stepdad was Japanese, right? Wasn't he?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So
Yeah, he kind of looked like Mr. Miyagi too.
really,
Yep.
Hey,
hi. Oh, um,
the fight thing.
Sweet Tea. Oh, Don, quit your belly aching. Look at this. Sweet Tea gets praised, and I get abused.
Well, you should be used to
CSYS
it.
or whatever. Don likes it. Don's got some pretty good some shit talking game to him too. Like he comes out in the morning, he just comes in swinging. What's up, bitches, or whatever he says sometimes.
And
Got a little support.
See No Evil's trying to be a wise guy here too. Todd, if you bring the knee off Lenny, you might save a few bucks.
Probably in better shape than mine.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So anyway, well, thank you guys for coming up. I appreciate having someone to talk to when I do the ghost videos, the supposed ghost videos. I always like to have someone else's comments. That makes it a lot easier. But
Yeah, no problem.
yeah.
It was good. It was going good until Osada came up, but
what did you think of the stories? How were the stories okay this week?
yeah.
Yeah, they were great. Yeah, no,
One
they're
with
awesome.
if you knock on the tomb, it knocks back at you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little
Yep.
freaky.
Yep.
But my daughter wants to know if you know anything about skinwalkers.
Skinwalkers, yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, that's like
The Navajo.
that's a Native American thing too, right? Skinwalkers.
Yeah.
They transform, right? They transform humans that can transform into various different creatures.
Yeah, like the one with the wolf guy. I don't know. I just think of it.
Right.
Yeah, I know that the Native Americans that I know up here in Muckleshoot, man, on the reservation, if they hear any type of whistles or anything like that at night, they're not even playing. They go back inside the house. They do
Really?
not, I don't know what it is, but they don't like whistles in the dark.
That's one of their triggers.
Really?
I mean, they'll even post about it and warn everybody else in the neighborhood. Like, hey, we heard a whistle. Like, oh shit.
Wow. Well, weren't Bigfoot supposedly the Bigfoot's whistle too, don't they? They that's what they say.
I don't know.
They whoop and whistle. So I don't know if it's Bigfoot, maybe. I don't know. That they're afraid of.
Yeah.
You know, this reminds me one real quick. I went camping one time up in Eastern Washington, and it was like way up in the sticks. But it's a campground, and we get there really late. And as we're getting ready to, just settle our tents down and everything, I hear what I think is a bear just growling, not very far away at all. And it scares the shit out of me. And I shine the flashlight at it, and it's this big old dude, just like rolling around in his tent. He's like, "Hey, get that light off of me." I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry." I went over and apologized the next morning. Like, "I'm sorry. I swear I thought you were a bear."
Wow. Oh my gosh.
Oh, we're gonna have to do a reenactment of that sometime.
Oh boy,
it was hilarious. It's two stories.
Well, there was I have a friend from high school who will swear to you that he saw Bigfoot on the New York thruway, like going north on the New York thruway. It was one night he was driving a truck, and he said there was like a 9-foot tall black creature standing on the side of the road, and he swears that he saw it. So I don't know.
Yeah, you might want to look at his driving logs and see when the last time he slept.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Todd's the most cynical person. He's the one that's going to end up getting kidnapped by Bigfoot. Nobody will know what happened.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we should construct something like that and put it on the side of the thruway it'll go viral.
That's true.
They'll never know it's us.
Yeah. Yep. Sweetie's birthday. Happy birthday, Sweetie. Happy birthday, Sweetie.
Today it is?
Oh, it says early birthday. Happy early birthday.
I think she said it was Tuesday.
Oh, okay. All right.
I will write her a bunch of jokes.
There you go, Sweetie. He's going to write you jokes. Get ready.
Good birthday girls.
Get ready.
Well, right on, gentlemen. I'm going to head out.
All right. Well, thank you for coming up.
All
Appreciate
right,
it.
guys. I'll see you guys
Thank you
soon.
both. Have a great
Rock and roll.
weekend.
Bye, everybody.
All right. All right. So there you have it. We had some great stories tonight, if I don't say so myself. I thought they were cool. Otherwise, I wouldn't tell them if I didn't think they were cool. Right, Lenny? So on behalf of Lenny and Victor, I want to thank each and every one of you for spending your Friday of Memorial Day weekend with me. Hope you enjoyed it. And we'll see you next time. And as I always say, stay scared. And lest we forget the real meaning of Memorial Day, for those that gave their lives for our freedom. So as we're going out and having a barbecue or having a drink or spending time with friends, keep those people in the back of your mind, because that's what this weekend's all about. Have a good time, but always think about them, because without them, we wouldn't be doing these things. We wouldn't have been able to do these things. So lest we forget. And with that, I will say, have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and I will see you next time. God bless.